What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Conor McGregor and Mike Perry go back and forth. Mike Perry came up pretty short against Jake Paul on Saturday night, and now the UFC veteran has found himself feuding with Conor McGregor. So much so, it's not clear if Perry will return to BKFC, where he's been collecting most of his paychecks the last couple of years. If you didn't hear, after Perry was stopped by Paul in their boxing match, McGregor angrily announced via social media that Platinum was fired from BKFC. McGregor, who recently bought a stake in BKFC, also took a poke at Perry over his plans for a new hybrid boxing promotion, Dirty Boxing Championship. The post prompted plenty of reactions online, including from the UFC's Terrence McKinney. Well, when Perry was asked about McGregor's fiery announcement, he claimed the Notorious Star can't axe him, since he also apparently owns part of BKFC.
He doesn't have a promotion because me and him are both owners of BKFC, so you can't fire me. We can fight in bare knuckle. Look at me, I lost to Jake Paul. Why don't you go fight Jake Paul and box him with the gloves on? I think it would be worse than Conor McGregor versus Mayweather.
Now, McGregor has since denied that Perry has a significant stake in BKFC, but it also remains to be seen if Perry actually gets his walking papers from the bare knuckle fighting promotion. He's certainly established himself as one of BKFC's best fighters. But Perry's plans to start his own promotion may not be sitting too well with the BKFC brass, including McGregor. All that aside, when Paul was informed about McGregor's posts, he took the opportunity to call for a fight with McGregor again.
Hey, that's fucked up that you fired your BKFC champion, but
face of BKFC.
I told you that was gonna happen. I told you exactly what was gonna happen. He was big upping his boy Mike Perry. I said, okay, Conor, like after I fuck up Mike Perry, then you're next. So Conor's on Twitter all the time. He's on his yacht all the time, but guess where he's not? In the ring fighting me, so he can talk all the he wants, but the notorious MMA is scared of Jake Joseph Paul from Disney Channel, and I put that on my mama.
So could we see McGregor and Paul throw hands in the boxing ring at some juncture? And do you have any interest in seeing it? Or does Conor have too much to lose? He certainly doesn't need the cash. Okay, now let's take a look at Belal Muhammad sends a warning to Leon Edwards. The narrative heading into the upcoming rematch between Leon Edwards and Belal Muhammad is that the latter is going to be driving hard for a takedown, but the surging challenger is inferring that he'll be just fine, standing and striking with the welterweight champ. Muhammad has been booked for a title shot at next Saturday's UFC 304 card. Since Edwards is widely regarded to be one of the best, most technical strikers in the welterweight division, the consensus is Muhammad will need to put his wrestling game to work. Well, recently, Belal spoke with Yahoo Sports' Kevin Iola when the veteran journalist noted that Edwards took Kamaru Usman down in one of their fights. Muhammad claimed he would welcome Rocky trying that in their rematch.
I mean, I hope he does, right? I want to feel those sequences, right? I love when guys want to grapple and wrestle and they think that they're better than me in any form. My last two fights, people look at me and they say, oh, he's just going to go out here and wrestle Leon. They call me a wrestler, but my last two fights, I didn't shoot one takedown against Sean Brady and against Gilbert Burns. And even in Leon, the first fight, he shot on me twice. I never shot on him once. So he never felt what I was capable of doing in the wrestling department yet. The thing with me is I can take the fight wherever I want it to go. If I want to keep it standing, I can keep it standing. If I want to take it to the ground, I can take it to the ground. He's not going to take me to the ground. He has to keep it standing.
Now, it'd be pretty surprising if we don't see Belal attempt a takedown at UFC 304. While it is true that he did not in their 2021 fight, that bout was called off not long into round 2, after Belal absorbed a nasty eye poke. Further, while it is true that Belal put away Sean Brady with his striking and that he outstruck Gilbert Burns, most would likely argue that Rocky's striking is at another level than those two. Game plans aside, Belal also recently spoke with MMA Junkie. When he was asked if he's going to let bygones be bygones after fighting Leon, Muhammad responded with a head-turning comment.
No, I think after the fight, I'm going to literally walk to his corner, do the Khabib thing, throw my mouthpiece at them, laugh at them, point, and maybe hop over the fence and jump on his brother.
Sounds like Fabian Edwards will need to be on his toes at UFC 304. Up next, Volkanovski says Tom Aspinall can beat John Jones. A few key pieces need to fall into place before we see John Jones and Tom Aspinall battle. But according to Alexander Volkanovski, if there's anyone out there who can hand Jones his first legitimate defeat, it's Mr. Aspinall. For months now, there's been talk about whether Aspinall and Jones will ever fight. The reason being that Aspinall is one of the fastest rising commodities in the UFC's heavyweight division, and he's also holding the interim belt. Well, recently, Volkanovski weighed in on Aspinall's upcoming fight with Curtis Blades, which is going down at UFC 304. While breaking down the contest, the former featherweight champ relayed he could see Aspinall defeating Bones.
Which I'm always going to pick Tom Aspinall because I believe he's that good. John Jones, I want to see that fight. John Jones is that good that he can maybe handle a heavyweight Tom Aspinall. But if anyone's ever going to beat John Jones, it's someone like Tom Aspinall that can really mix it up. Still fast. He's going to be just as fast as John Jones. You get what I mean? He's that good.
On paper, there's no question that it's a super intriguing fight, but as noted, it's just not clear if and when we'll see it. The UFC is moving forward with the scrap between Jones and Stipe Miocic, which more than a few people have questioned on account of Aspinall. Case in point, Michael Page recently told Shaq MMA this.
I definitely believe he should be getting the title, but it's just part of the game. It's just part of the game. I think you kind of have to accept it. I think Tom has to accept that he's also not as big a personality outside. And because he doesn't necessarily create that noise on the outside of the cage, this is why you're not going to be first, put forward as quickly in these kind of circumstances. And I think he doesn't really care too much. He just wants to focus on fighting.
It's an interesting take from MVP. What do you think? UFC Fight Updates. The UFC's upcoming card in Abu Dhabi has taken a massive hit, as it's been announced that Nick Diaz will no longer fight Vicente Luque at the August 3rd card. Over the weekend, the UFC announced the fight is off due to travel issues, which is already prompting plenty of discussion online. After all, Diaz has fought just once since 2015, and even when the fight was announced, it caught plenty of people off guard. Given that Diaz was one of the biggest stars in the game, a fight with Luque, overseas no less, wasn't on many people's radars. The UFC has said that the fight is just postponed, but we'll see if it gets rebooked or if the promotion goes in another direction. In addition to the Diaz-Luque fight being pushed, the UFC has also announced that Sharubuddin Magomedov will fight Michael Olashechuk at the Abu Dhabi card. Now, let's take a look at Khamzat Chimaev calls out Gilbert Burns. Most people have likely closed the book on Khamzat Chimaev fighting again at welterweight, which makes this story an interesting one to say the least. After Chimaev joined the UFC back in 2020, the rising star took fights at both welterweight and middleweight. But after Chimaev came in way over for a fight with Nate Diaz in September 2022, leading to the fight being cancelled, it seemed like his days at welterweight were over. After all, Chimaev fought Kamaru Usman at middleweight, and Borz was booked to fight former middleweight champ Robert Whittaker last month, before he was forced out due to illness. Well, according to a recent report from Essentially Sports, Chimaev reportedly called for another scrap with Gilbert Burns, while speaking at an investment forum in Chechnya. Well, yes, I have such a guy whom I want to rematch. Gilbert Burns and I had a difficult fight, so to speak, because I wanted to drop the guy and stop him ahead of schedule. I was chasing this knockout and it didn't work. Well, I did everything on emotions. I would like to try again and finish it. Well, with a cool head, fight him. Now, yes, the fight between Chimaev and Burns was ridiculously entertaining, but given everything that's transpired since then, it'd be kind of surprising if the UFC actually went this route, right? What do you think? Sean O'Malley reacts to Jake Paul call-out. Not only did Jake Paul call out Conor McGregor again on Saturday, the YouTube influencer also challenged Alex Pereira of all people to a boxing match. While that probably prompted some people to spit their beers out in surprise, it sounds like Sean O'Malley thinks Paul could pose a threat to Poatan. Following Paul's win over Mike Perry on Saturday, he issued this challenge to Pereira.
Alex Pereira, you said you want to box. I'm the king of this. I'm the king of this. Come over. We can make it happen. I want you, Alex Pereira.
O'Malley was watching, and Sugar had this take on a potential clash between Paul and the UFC's light heavyweight king.
Alex has crazy power in both hands, but the dude he literally throws from his hips. Like he's there to be hit. That was a big thing about Mike Perry. He was there to be hit. His chin was floating. He was throwing punches. He was off balance. His chin was just kind of there to be hit.
Well, whether Paul could best Poatan in a boxing match or not, it looks like Pereira could be interested. Following Paul's call-out, the champ apparently FaceTimed the influencer. Check it out.
Let's go, my boy. Will Dana let you there, sir? Yes. We'll talk to him. Jen. Hey.
The chances of that fight happening while Pereira is under UFC contract are what, 3%? Maybe 2%? MMA community reacts to UFC rule change. If you're an old school fan who watched Pride, or you follow its nephew promotion, Rizin, you know very well how knees and kicks to the head of a grounded opponent can flip the script for a fight real quick. Well, although we're not going to see that going down here in North America, well, not legally anyways, a step in that direction is taking place this October. During the UFC broadcast on Saturday, analyst Laura Sanko reported that as of October 1st, knees or kicks to the head of an opponent will be allowed even if the fighter has one hand down on the cage floor. In other words, a fighter will have to have at least one knee on the ground to prevent their opponent from kicking or kneeing them to the head. Again, legally speaking. So given we've seen fighters game the current rule for years and often in a very annoying manner, let's face it, this came as welcome news for many. Here were some of the reactions. Aljo must be crying when he heard the news, because there goes his chance of ever winning a belt again, lol. Took them years to do this ish. John Jones' crawlout is gonna have some risk now, lol. Movzar and Mokaev just ished themselves. Rules should be removed entirely. One knee is still abusable. I still like more the rules of Rizin 1, where you can do soccer kicks to the face and knees to the grounded opponents. This is great and a long time coming. Too many fighters are in compromised positions and just touch the floor. Many more stoppages along the cage. This is the biggest change to the rules in a very long while. Now sure, this rule change won't impact fights like it would if knees and soccer kicks to the head were allowed for fighters on the ground, but it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out after October 1st.